Today we're putting spark plugs in my Miata. It's getting close to the 60,000 mile service where it's recommended, so I figured it's easy enough, I'll just go ahead and do it myself. So I got all the supplies out in the garage here, so let's head out there and we'll get started. So this video is going to specifically cover the 2002 model year, but it's basically the same for all the NB Miatas, and even the Mazda Speed Miata is very similar. So I'll go over everything that's required and then we'll get started and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Okay, for this procedure I will be using NGK plugs, and there's actually 4 different spark plugs specified in the owner's manual. I'll put all that in the description along with the correct gap, but I will say double check your owner's manual before you get started, because I don't want a bunch of comments saying, oh, I put the wrong plugs in my Miata because of this video. So just make sure you double check your owner's manual first. So now that we got the hood open, we'll get started, and it looks pretty easy. Okay, we'll first start by removing these wires, and to do that I'm going to recommend using a 10mm socket to remove these fasteners, just in case we do need to pull that up out of the way. You'll also need a 5/8 spark plug socket. Mine is a 3/8 drive, and I'll just be attaching that to my ratchet to use. So we'll start by undoing the bolts here on the top. And also there's little clips here that hold the wires in, so we'll undo that so we can get to the actual bolt. And an extension will help you get in there a little bit better. So just crack it loose and then pull it out. Okay, and we'll just continue doing that right on down the line. Okay, we've got all 4 bolts out, so I'm going to set these aside in a safe place. And then just pull it right out. There we go. So I just want to pull the coil straight out and undo the wiring here from the valve cover. There we go. Okay, and then just remember the layout of these so that we can put them back correctly. Now I'm just going to kind of shift it off to the side here. You could unplug it if you wanted to, but I think it's fine just off to the side here. So now we can gain access to the spark plug down inside the hole. Okay, and to get it down in there I'm just going to use a longer extension on my ratchet. And just very carefully place it down in there. And once you feel it lock on, just give it a good twist. Alright, perfect. I'll just go ahead and take the rest of these out the exact same way. Okay, the next step is going to be to measure the gap on each spark plug. So I've got my new spark plug here. I've also got a gap tool, and the spec in the owner's manual is 0.04 to 0.043 inches. So on this side is inches, and I don't know how easily you're going to be able to read this on camera, but right there is 0.04, so I want to get around there, maybe slightly over. So I'm going to insert the tool and then just measure the gap. Now it gets some resistance here right before 0.045, so I'm going to say this one's good. But if the gap was too large, then I would just close this gap and then just measure it again. If the gap was too small, if you continue to push once you get resistance, then you will widen that gap. So we'll just go ahead and do this for all 4 of them before we put them in the car. Now that I have each plug correctly gapped, I'm going to take my extension and my spark plug socket. I'm going to insert the plug into the socket, just like that. It'll fit pretty firmly. Now some people say you should lubricate these before you put them in, some people say not. I'm just going to put them in dry, and if I get any kind of resistance or anything, then I'll just pull it out and put a little bit of oil on it. But I think it'll go pretty smoothly, so I'm going to start here by not lubricating them. Now there's a washer on the end, but you don't have to worry about it falling off when you tip it over. So I'm just going to very gently insert it down into the hole and hand tighten it. Okay, it appears to be hand tight now. So now we need to torque it down. Now you can use a torque wrench for this, and you can set it at around 14 foot-pounds, and you can torque it down the correct way. But my torque wrench does not read under 20, so there's a chart on the back of the spark plug box that gives you kind of a rough guide as to how to torque it down without actually using a torque wrench. So I'm going to put my ratchet on here, and then once it's hand tight like it is now, I'm just going to go another roughly third to half turn, and that will torque it down in a sense. Okay, got the ratchet on here, and we're just going to go, like I said, roughly a third to half turn. And that will snug up the spark plug and torque it down as roughly as we can. Might help if I set it to the right direction. That feels pretty good. Now I'm just going to lift it straight up, and then we're just going to continue moving on. So now that we've got the new plugs installed, we'll put the coils back on and bolt everything down. Okay, I'm just going to start at the back and just snap the coils back in. Alright, perfect. So it's kind of tricky to get in with the wiring connection there, but we'll just slip it right in. There we go. And then we'll just bolt this down and reattach all the wires. Sweet, looks like we're all done. Now the only thing left is to start it up and make sure everything runs okay.